What's up, people? Welcome to this episode of the By the Hood podcast slash webcast because I don't know how you're consuming this content. As usual, I'm your host. My name is Jimmy. Corey's not with us this evening. He's out in the streets, doing some of the work, but we gotta keep it moving, man. As usual, we have a very special guest on. We like to highlight brothers and sisters who are doing positive and amazing work in the community. I just want to say thank you for all the support we got thus far, all the feedback, all the comments, the negative and positive. We read it all, and we just appreciate you people sharing our content, because like I always say on a lot of episodes, man, we like to share a lot of the nonsense, which I'm guilty of watching myself. You know what I'm saying? I'll be on the shade room. I ain't gonna hold you. But at the same time, we need some balance, man. We gotta have some balance out there, man. So make sure you share this content as well. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, leave us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. Also, we got the new By the Hood merch. You can find that link in our bio and everything like that. But without further ado, man, we want to get right into it. This brother I got coming on tonight is a civil engineer. He's also out of as my friends like to let me know, it's not Newark, it's Newark. He's out of Newark. You know what I'm saying? He's an African American developer. On January 14th, he just had the city just had a groundbreaking ceremony for his 12th project. So he's doing amazing stuff out there, and we want to get him to tell his story. So without further ado, we got Siree Morris in the building. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me, man.
Oh, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank you for your time, man.
Right.
Let's get right into it, man. You born and raised in Newark?
Yeah, man. I'm born and raised, man. I've been in Newark for about 37 years now, man. So
Okay.
I come like I tell everybody, I call it Newark Brick City. I'm a part of the ingredients of the bricks.
No doubt. No doubt. So I see that you're a civil engineer by trade. And for the folks that don't know, what exactly does a civil, because we know there's a lot of engineers. You got electrical engineers, chemical engineer. What does a civil engineer actually do? Like what's that based,
Yeah, right. So a civil engineer encompasses a lot of different elements of construction, right? So you got below ground, you got at grade, right? And then you got above ground. So myself, I deal with things that are below ground, like utilities, drainage, stormwater. So what that means is like when you flush your toilet, where does that go?
Got you.
So it goes underground through some pipes, through some big underground detention bases, and it discharges to like a waste treatment facility, right? Okay. So that's the part of the engineering that I specialize in. And the other parts of it is at grades is when you're dealing with like foundations and utility designs, which I do some of as well. And then you have structural, which makes sure that all of the buildings and everything are structurally valuable.
Okay, nice. Thank you for breaking that down. So, I guess obviously you had to go to school for that. Where'd you go to school?
Yeah, I went to school at Rutgers University, but it all started with University High School. That's where I first got the itch to do civil engineering.
Okay. Did you come from a background of engineers, or what was it that led you into that?
Nah, you know what? I came from a background of every regular kid in the hood.
Got you. Say less. I got you.
You don't need to go into any details or whatever. But the good thing about it was that I always had like good leaders, good role models in my family and the community and school. So when I went to University High School my senior year, I was roaming the halls and stuff like that. I used to play ball. I used to be pretty good. So we had a few extra privileges and stuff. So the vice principal grabbed me up, like, yo, she said, come into my office right before graduation. And she was like, I think you would be a good civil engineer. I've never heard of it in my life. And I'm like, all right. Then she's like, I'm gonna hook you up with my husband, who worked at PSNG as a civil engineer. And we never got to link up. But when I went to school, I was good at school. So I wanted to do like English or something. So my first 2 months up in Rutgers, I'm like, nah, this ain't gonna work. So I said, I'm gonna do the civil engineering. So my first introduction to civil engineering came from like a 2-minute conversation with the vice principal at the school.
But that shows you how important having people in the community looking out for you are, right? So now you're one of those people, like looking out for the youngsters, you know what I'm saying? But let me ask you a question. What is it she saw in you? What made her say, out of everything, like a civil engineer, what was it?
You know what, my wife asked me the same thing. And only thing I could think about now is that I'm a people person. I got like a big personality. I'm cool. I'm easy to get along with. And with civil engineers, and I was also good at math in school and stuff. So
okay,
with civil engineers, like most other engineers in their professions, they kind of be in office design and stuff like that. But with civil engineers, we do design work, but we also out meeting people. We out in the field. We on the construction sites. We meet with different politicians and municipalities and stuff. So I guess you saw my people skills. So I was very likable and I was intelligent.
Okay, that's dope. That's dope. So it's a combination of like, your personality as well as like you still had that math down though, right?
Yeah, no, you got you, got
You
you.
gotta have that math right.
I was playing ball and in the Math Olympics same year.
Oh, I heard that. I heard that. The Math Olympics, that's fire.
Math
So,
Olympics.
your background is in civil engineering, and you got into real estate developments. I know that your recent one, you're literally buying back the block. We talk a lot about buy the block and buy the hood, buy the block, but you're literally out here doing it. With your 12th project, how'd you
Absolutely.
get into development? I mean, I'm assuming the civil engineer part kind of led you into development, but
Mm-hmm.
what was it specifically that instead of having this 9 to 5, I'm going to do multiple things.
Gotcha. Very simple, right? So like they say when people they had that one moment in your life where
Mm-hmm.
this one thing changed your life forever. Mine was I was a civil engineer working for a large real estate developer, and it was probably like my second year in there, and I was probably making like $63,000 a year. And the developer, they told me one day they was like, "Listen, I need you to go upstairs and help his captain bring some fish down to the basement to the fridge." I'm like, "What you mean, captain? What you talking about fish?" They come to find out the owner of the company had a 100-foot yacht, full-time staff, had a private plane, full-time plane staff, cribs everywhere. So from that point on, I'm like, hold on, that ain't gonna work for me. So that was my first introduction into real estate. So I said, instead of designing for this billionaire, why not just do it for myself? Because I already know it.
Yeah.
Right.
See, that's crazy, right?
I'm
I was
telling you.
having a conversation with my wife about that earlier. We were talking about how like success leaves clues, and a lot of times in life,
Mm,
you just look at what somebody who's doing what you want to do. You look at what they do, and you basically just do it, right? And it's so simple, right? So when you talk about that story, it just resonates with me because I started out while in college in politics,
okay.
right? So I was a political science major, but then as an intern, working on campaigns, I noticed that everybody when certain people made phone calls, the candidates took their phone calls right away. Didn't matter what was going on,
Mm,
right? So then you start to ask questions. What do you do? Oh, I'm in the real estate. I own stocks. I'm like, well, you got all the power. So forget the candidate, forget the politics. You know what I'm saying? And then at the same time, I was reading Dr. Claude Anderson's book, Powernomics, right?
Absolutely.
So after I read
Absolutely.
that and I
Great
actually
book.
actually saw that in play, I was like, all right,
Mm,
I got to get on the other side of the fence. And that's why your story kind of resonates with me. Because basically you just saw somebody like, hold on, I'm doing this. Because a lot of people would have took 63K and it's been cool. They'd have chilled.
oh no,
But
yeah.
you saw something and was like, I'm just gonna do what he's doing.
Yeah, nah. For me, think about it. I'm an engineer, so I'm taught to break down and analyze things, right? So I'm looking at it like this is a problem for me. I was making 63. I was probably like 23, no, maybe like 24, and I'm like, this ain't really a lot of money for me at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I seen what he was doing. I'm like, hold on, if I'm designing it for him, I could definitely do it for myself. And also, too, a good thing about it too is that he had all of the knowledge and he had all of the resources, and he wasn't afraid to share it and share a story or give me a path. Like, so for example, like you say with politics and stuff, you saw how things transpired and stuff, and it might have inspired you to go a certain way. With the person I was working for, I just simply asked him, said, what do I have to do to get to your stand, to get to be at your level? And he was like, just buy one house, then buy another and buy another. And I was like, all right, I can do that.
Yeah,
That
it
was it.
broke it down real simple for you.
Basic. And I literally, I bought one house and I bought another, then I bought another, then I started buying land. And now it's going at a very accelerated rate right now.
Oh man, that's amazing. That's an
Yeah.
amazing story. And salute to him for sharing the information because you know, man, everything's in abundance. A lot of times people operate from a place of scarcity and are afraid to share information. But he shared the information with you, so it's probably gonna come back on him, tenfold too, just for putting you down.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I told him too, I said, same as seat at the table, I'll be there soon.
I heard that. I heard that. So your newest project, it made national news, a lot of news. I saw a lot of articles about it. I saw the news covered you or whatever.
Yeah.
Explain to us what your newest project is about.
All right. So my newest project is a 6-unit affordable housing development. It consists of 2-3 family homes, and we are targeting families. We try to keep all of our projects affordable so that it falls within the affordable limits within the state of New Jersey, specifically Essex County. But all of the 6 apartments are 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, stainless steel appliances, hardwood bamboo floors We provide the washer and dryer hookup, rooftop terrace. And we think that this type of product is something that we can replicate, something similar to like a cookie cutter. Because in our communities, the one things that we like to do for my business is that we like to cater to families. We like to cater to moms and dads with large families. So this is 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and there's a lot of space, and is a great way and a great place for somebody to grow a family affordably.
Yeah, and I see that you have like a social component to what you're doing too. Cause in reading about what you're doing, like I see a lot of the politicians like love you, man. They like, we need to replicate this. I saw some good words from the politicians about what you're doing.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
so is there like a social component? Is it like something that you think about when you go into a project?
Well, I would say this, right? As a developer, we want to go where we're taught to go, where the grass is the greenest, right? So we want to be in the downtown areas. We want to be where, we have the highest median income and things like that. I approach things from just a need-based standpoint, right? I look at where I grew up at, and I specifically target the areas in which I grew up at, got a little issues with crime, maybe it's lower income. And I seen that as just a need. So, my thing, I would say it comes from a social standpoint, but for me, I look at it as a way that I can give back in a way where something is really untapped. Like in these areas, like in what we call the hood and the neighborhoods and stuff, it is so rich and it's so gold and it's so right with
Absolutely.
so much equity, so much liquidity, so much potential that it's endless in my opinion. So I don't want to go nowhere. I want to stay right here.
Yeah, and you hit it, man, right? Because listen, right on the head, you hit it right there because there is so much value there,
Oh man.
right? You don't want to wait until someone else comes in your neighborhood and then all of a sudden you say, "Oh man," you want to recognize the value now. Like I tell people every day, man, stop selling grandma's house, man, because,
Mm,
because listen, man,
mm.
we see it all the time,
I'm
right?
telling
Because there's so much value in there. Because a lot of times when the quote unquote hood is always has access to highways, a lot of times it's not too far from the central business area of
you.
whatever city. And this is city to city. I see this, right?
Yep.
I've been in Chicago on the west side in the quote unquote hood, and I mean at this point they're gentrifying that too,
Yeah.
but you see the same thing, right? So it's a lot of value there. But I love what you're doing because you're helping people who will be displaced, and you're providing a quality service. One of the things about being a developer,
Mhm.
even a landlord, is that if you provide a quality space, you it's customer service work. At the end of the day, it's
Exactly.
customer service work. So you
Exactly.
still have to provide a quality. It's not about being a slumlord. It's about providing a quality housing to your people.
And
So
I wanted to say one thing too. Uh, Another black developer, a little older than me, a friend of mine named Kimbo. He's doing a 50 unit project in Orange, New Jersey. We partner and we're looking to do some things together. And he told me, this has always stuck with me. He said that the same land that is in the hood, if you take that same parcel and put it in downtown Newark, they would say that is more valuable, but it's the same land.
hmm
It has the same value. So we can't let others dictate the value in our communities. Just like you said, like we're selling grandma's house. It's that no matter what, we have to retain our assets, because if we don't own our properties in our areas, then we really have no foundation, to fight from.
Yes, and real estate is very important for that because real estate's always going to have value, right?
Absolutely.
There's an acronym like if you ever like study real estate, it's called DUS because real estate is desirable, it has utility, scarcity, and it's transferable, right?
Mm,
So those are the reasons real estate will always have value.
mm,
And the fact of the matter is, a lot of times, our ancestors, our grandparents, or whatever, they were smart enough to buy the land.
absolutely.
That's why it, like irritates me so much when I see people sell that off.
Can't, man. You
You
can't.
can't, because it's going to be value, and then you'll drive back by and say, "Oh man, I wish I would have." Yeah,
Man.
So but what you're doing is amazing, man. What is the future like after you finish this project? I hear you say cookie cutter, so you want to replicate this throughout the city?
Well, yes, just when I say cookie cutter in terms of a housing concept type, right? But
Okay.
but in terms of the future, we want to still continue with our, 3 family homes and smaller little developments, right? But now we're looking to have a greater impact by doing larger buildings, right? So now we're trying to take the same strategy of affordability with quality housing and apply it on like a larger scale. So, towards the end of this year, we'll be doing the 20 unit building, actually on a block that I grew up on, Astor Street in Newark.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I know that feels amazing, right?
Seriously, yep. It's literally my cousin's house is right across the street from my grandmother lived at and my mother. So I bought that 7,000 square foot parcel. And we're going to do 20 units there. The other good thing about that is that building is called the Michael, which is dedicated to my late younger brother. So we grew up, on that block, and some of the old houses, I got a brick that I'm encasing the building, just to kind of, give us a sentimental value. So we have that 20 unit building. Then also we're doing 64 units in another community in Newark in the West Ward. We're doing another 80 units in the South Ward. And we have, a lot of different other concepts and a lot of developments that we got coming on. I just wanted to say one thing too, that's a little difference, is that I also do container home housing.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah. So you probably haven't, we started it a few years ago. We had a lot of publicity like the Wall Street Journal and things like that. So, but right now we currently have the first approved multi-family shipping container design.
Wow.
In the state of New Jersey.
I've never seen that one.
Yeah, it's different. It's different. We're looking to ramp up construction again in April. But we are very excited about this housing concept because this is something where we can literally have an impact on homeless housing, veterans housings, elderly housing in an affordable way.
That's interesting, right? Because last year, I spoke at a conference last year in Portland, right? Mm-hmm. And it was a guy who did a presentation on tiny homes and shipping homes, right?
Yeah.
But one of the things that stood out to me about that, and maybe you can shed some light on this, he said that a lot of people go into it for the same reason you just said, because they want to try to figure out ways that are sustainable and try to help people. Mm-hmm. He said, but when you look at the data, most of the tiny homes and those kind of homes are owned by people who have means. They're not even being used in the current climate. No one has really been able to figure out because costs, right? Because of the costs, right? So you have all this land, and I know that happened in Detroit, and it was somewhere else. So people try to take a bunch of land and put like these small container homes or affordable homes. Mm-hmm. But people who had money, like millionaires, were buying them because they just thought it was cool. Like it didn't really, fit for what it was used for. Mm-hmm. What kind of costs? Like how do you bring the cost down in doing those container homes?
All right. So in terms of, just Moff, I got to preface it by saying this is our first project, right? So
okay.
This one here, we taking the bumps and bruises, we learning, and now we think we have it down packed, right? So with the containers, you got to keep the designs very simple, right? As you stack them 2 and 3 and 4 stories high, that's where the price gets a lot higher because of the welding, right? But if you keep it maybe like a 4 container development, you put 2 containers on the ground floor, 2 containers on top. You want to stack them directly on each other so that the load and the structural bearings wouldn't be as significant. And you just want to keep it a real simple 1, 2, 3 bedroom concept, simple utility hookups. And in this way, if you do it like that in a very small, simple way, you can get the savings that you need. We have different concepts with different designs. Like we have like a single house, a single family, 1 level. And with our analysis, we think that we can get the price down to about 15% from, where the construction currently is.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay. Yeah. All right. So listen, along this journey, what has been your biggest hurdle or biggest thing you had to get over? If you could share with our audience, something that you went through or maybe, something that you overcome, but your biggest hurdle in getting to where you are today.
It's simple. It's unlocking my mind. Right. So, a lot of times we may say it's money, is access, is credit, is people giving us the opportunity to purchase. For me, my biggest obstacle was me seeing outside of the world that I've created to understand that, I can actually do it. Right. So, it took me several years of trying and failing, going in debt, going back to my mother-in-law's house for 3 years with my wife and kid. It took a lot for me to go through that. But once I unlocked my mind and wasn't afraid to take on these larger projects, that's when I started having more prosperity, in my business and life.
Nice. Man, that's amazing. That's amazing, right? Yeah. And another thing I want to ask you before we get you out of here is if you could recollect, I'm pretty sure that you've had someone or a book or something that inspired you. What would you say is a book or maybe a someone or a quote or something that has inspired you along this way?
Wow. All right. So now this one really got nothing to do with real estate. It's a
That's
book by,
cool.
yeah, okay. It's a book by, I forgot, it's like Tanashi Coates, I believe it is.
Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Ta-Nehisi Coates is
Hmm.
called Between the World and Me.
Yeah, the letter to
Um,
his son, right?
Letter to his son.
Yeah.
And in that book, it wasn't a particular quote, but just the overall narrative and synopsis about how being Black in America, we aren't as valued how we should be,
Hmm.
right? And just in reading that book, and I literally just finished reading that book like 2 months ago,
Okay.
it gave me a newfound perspective and value for myself as a father. And it gives me a new way and a new ideology to think about how I should raise my son and the different things I should influence him to. So it's not even, I can't even say it's really about a black and white in terms of the book, but it's just the African-American perspective. And I think it's a
Yeah.
phenomenal book.
Oh man, that definitely is. He has another book too. He wrote a couple books at this point, but he had one that came out
Yeah.
before that, which was about his story, and that was pretty good too, about him
Uh,
growing up in inner city Baltimore.
I got to take a look at
Yeah,
that.
take a look
Yeah.
at that because
Right,
he's
right.
a phenomenal writer. But
Excellent.
I'm glad you said that though, because like I said, it didn't have to be real estate related, but everybody who has any level of success, when I talk to them, there's always something, whether a book or music, whatever it may be, it's something that gave them inspiration, and I think that's dope.
Yeah.
So
And
listen, man.
I'm going to give you one more book too.
Sure, listen, you give me as many books as you want to. I
Yeah.
love talking about books. So what is another one for?
The one that I would say that started it all was the Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill.
That's the start of me opening up my mind and unlocking what I have inside.
Yeah, since we've been doing this podcast, that book, Think and Grow Rich and Rich Dad Poor Dad, are like the
I mean, yeah.
two books that everybody. So it's amazing to see like what kind of impact books can have.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna be honest. I was always one of the people like I'm not reading and all, even though I'm an engineer, right? But I wasn't a big reader. But after reading those books, it gave me a different perspective.
Yeah. For me, it was weird though, because like I hated reading in school because I hated some of the stuff that was assigned to me. Like I don't want to read Shakespeare. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to read that. You know what I'm saying? But you read me something about, flipping some houses, something like that, I'm all in, right?
Word,
You know what I mean?
word.
So,
Yeah,
but man,
definitely.
listen, this has been an amazing talk, man. I really appreciate you giving us your time, man. I wish you nothing but the best. And I know a lot of people will be inspired by you sharing your story and also what you're doing for your own community, man, because nobody's coming to save us. People like we need brothers like this who are willing to stand up and he's going right back to where he came from and he's improving it himself. Like, gentrify it yourself, but also take care of the people. And that's what you're doing, man. So salute to you for that.
I appreciate it, man. I just like I tell everybody, who listen, who may hear this, and I wanted to congratulate you guys on having a pretty decent following, man. I was very excited. I was happy when I saw that. So salute to you. But for those who are listening and might be viewing this, don't look at it and not act on what you're hearing and the information I'm sharing.
Absolutely.
Like we look all day, but it's time for us to act. Like
Absolutely.
you said, ain't nobody come here to save us. So
that's right. It's not just about the information; it's about the application.
Absolutely. So if you doing your end, I'm doing my end. Now we got to inspire others to be able to uphold their parts.
Absolutely, man. And like I said, everybody comes on here, man. Now you're an alumni, you're part of the family. So we're gonna make sure that we share all your social media contacts. So
same here, man.
May reach out to you, man. But just want to say thanks for your time. But also, listen, man, continue success, man. And I'm gonna check you out when I get out north because I always tell people like I have friends that live out there. They be like, man, it's not Newark, it's Newark.
Newark, man. You Newark, man. Glad you do, you know?
Yeah, man. And to the people out there, man, make sure you share this episode. Take a look at what this brother is doing, and if you in Newark, go by and see his projects. And as we always say, man, it's not about how much money you make; it's about how much you keep. Getting elevates, man. And we will check y'all out on the next episode. Peace.